that social confidence so that when you're around people, you're talking to new people, you don't feel always so awkward, or you're able to get through that awkwardness. Saw a question online here that I came across, and it basically describes this situation of wanting to build and radiate confidence when talking to people. It says, this person says, I'm in college and there's a need for me to socialize more and build new contacts. The problem is not very confident. I'm not feeling very confident. I tend to feel overwhelmed, end up stuttering mid-sentence sometimes. I listen to people, but I can't respond to people in the right way to have a deep conversation. I'm pretty awkward. I feel like I need to maintain a good image, I want to be myself, but I'm unable to do that. So how do you build that social confidence? If you're new here, my name is Caleb Morgan. I am a motivational speaker and a coach, and my mission is to help you break through the illusions holding you back so you can build your confidence, communication, leadership, and ultimately do what feels impossible right now. And we're back on the live stream here. Exciting new question here about confidence when it comes to speaking with people in social situations. And I used to be very socially awkward, very kind of timid when I was a kid. I believed this illusion myself that I was someone who was just timid. And as you can tell, I'm not that person. That's a different story for a different day. But today we're talking about social confidence. And I figure what better way than to show you a little something that has to do with this topic. Now, as you can see, I got a little quarter here, okay? And magicians practice all sorts of things with coins. Have you ever seen like the Pirates of the Caribbean type thing where the roll the coin down the fingers kind of a thing? That kind of, see that, it's difficult. It's not easy to do, especially it's a little warm in here. But what's cool about magic is not that you can do these little techniques. It's really what happens in your brain. It's your psychology, right? It's just when you think you know what's going on, right? It's the illusion of it, right? And the reason I thought it was great to show you a little something fun with a coin is because there was this joke kind of circulating around in the comedy world a while back about magicians, and they said, maybe you've heard this joke. It said, a magician really is basically a person who says, hey, here's a quarter and now it's gone and now you're an idiot, right? And it was like, oh man, many people thought that was a funny joke. And I've heard people say that many times to me, and I've been performing and telling people that what I do. And come to, think about it. If that was true, that is the worst way to do magic. If I'm being frank, that's the worst thing ever. Good magic is literally the opposite of that. Good magic is really about making it all about the audience, making it an experience that they will never forget because it's about them. It's not just them coming to see the performer on stage and the performer explaining or showcasing their own talents. It's about creating a moment, creating a memory that will live on forever because it was designed for the audience and because it was including them in a way that this could only happen for them right now, right in this particular moment. This was the night that this happened. This was the time, this was the day, this was the party. It only happened for you guys. And so we create those moments, and we do that by focusing on the audience, not only in how we design the actual experiences, how we design the tricks and the pieces that go into the show and the flow of the show, thinking of the end, what kind of reaction and response and experience we're trying to create, and reverse engineering from there, but also in the way that we interact with the audience. That's the best way to do what I do. That's the best way to be a magician, because you create that camaraderie and you help the audience understand, hey, we're not on opposing teams here. We're on the same team, and I'm showing you something for your enjoyment and celebrating how amazing it is that this works. One of my favorite things to do is to explain to the audience, hey, the only reason this works is because, like I said earlier, when with the coin, right before it vanishes, it's your psychology. It's your amazing brain. All of our brains are amazing. And so by leaning into some of the interesting psychology of how our brains perceive things and how we pick up on differences in what's happening, and attention, using our attention so that it creates this moment of illusion of, wait, I don't understand how that just happened. Leveraging that attention is what's amazing. And it literally wouldn't work unless your brain was amazing. So it's this unique art form where the audience is literally the reason why it works, right? It would not be an art form if there was no audience. So I think the same thing applies in social confidence, right? There's two things I want to talk about today in regards to social confidence, and in response to this question here about feeling confident in social scenarios, even when it feels awkward. If you remember a lot of the things that they were saying in here, I tend to feel overwhelmed. I listen to people, but I can't respond in a way that is the right to have a deep conversation. I'm pretty awkward. I want to be myself. I'm not very confident. All this I. All the focus is on themselves. And that's easy to do, right? For all of us, we're trying to figure out what our problem is so that we can figure out how to get to the outcome we're looking for, right? But in this case, it's a little bit of a different response. I was just talking to my friend about this yesterday, and another magician friend of mine, and we actually both in our younger years read this book. Tell me if you've heard of this book in the comments. Put, I've read that. And even if you like reading books, put, hey, I love to read in the comments. See who our readers are. Readers will be leaders, right? And the book is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And one of the biggest things I learned from that book was this concept that the best way to have a good conversation is to make the conversation about the other person. If you just ask questions and ask good questions about the other person and keep the focus on them, then you're going to walk away with them saying, wow, what a great person to talk to, because they enjoyed explaining about their life and explaining about themselves and their opinions and how they feel, and you took interest in what they had to say. You made them feel important. And so if we can focus on them and stop focusing on how we might feel overwhelmed, or we might feel that we're stuttering in the sentence, or we need to be ourselves and we're not really sure how, focus on them instead and really take interest in them. Really ask them good questions. For example, if let's say you're at a restaurant, you can be really strategic about this. Let's say you're meeting somebody in line at a restaurant and you're picking up your food, right? Like a DoorDash order or something. Or that wouldn't be a DoorDash, I guess that would be mobile pickup. But let's say you're picking up your food and there's somebody else in line and you want to practice your conversational skills, right? And not being socially confident, not being socially awkward. And so you strike up a conversation, but you have a strategic question, for example. Maybe you say, hey, is this your first time here? Or what's your favorite thing on the menu? Knowing in your head already what your favorite thing on the menu is. So let's say my favorite thing on the menu is a grilled cheese. And I walk up to the gentleman, or I'm standing there in line, and I say, hey, what's your favorite thing here? What do you always get? And now they proceed to say, let's say they say, oh, I like the chicken, Oh, and now I can ask another question. Oh, what kind of chicken is it? And now I'm still taking interest in them. And they go, oh, well, it's this, barbecue chicken. It's got this, this particular sauce on it. And it really comes with these great sides. Oh man, barbecue chicken. That sounds great. Where are you from somewhere where barbecue chicken is kind of a popular thing? And now I'm just taking what they've said and creating more and more questions to go deeper and deeper and talk to them in a casual way. Doesn't feel awkward, doesn't feel weird, but I'm learning about them, taking interest in them. And then naturally, if they're a good conversationalist, they're going to respond to me and say, well, what's your favorite thing here? And this is where I'm already prepared, because I can say, oh, the grilled cheese is really good. And now if they ask, oh, what kind of grilled cheese is it? I can give the details of that, right? But even if not, I had a nice little interaction. It was easy, and I had prepared ahead of time, right? Now, there are some parts that may not be easy, because like I said, when I was younger, I used to be very socially awkward. I had difficult having conversations with people. I felt very timid and shy and didn't want to say the wrong thing, and overthinking the conversations a lot. And so the first thing I wanted to mention, like I said, is focusing on them. But sometimes there's some difficulty in that. Sometimes it might feel like if I said grilled cheese, they might think that's kind of a weird, why do you like the grilled cheese? And then I wouldn't know what to say. That's where the second point that I wanted to mention comes in. The second strategy for being confident in social situations. And I'm going to call it cringe through the first season. Cringe through the first season. Have you ever watched a TV show where like the first season of the show was just awkward? Right? All the new characters trying to get their bearings. They're trying to figure out how they all mesh together, and they don't feel maybe super like 100% smooth in their delivery yet. And so it's just like creates a lot of awkward moments. But then you get to season 2 and it's like, oh, this is so much better. Now I see how everybody gels. Season 3, season 4 just gets better and better from there. My wife always says, sometimes you just have to get through the first season of a TV show before it starts to get good. And so sometimes there's going to be those moments where you don't know what to say, and you have to just cringe through the first season, cringe through the first part. Stay in it. Don't try to retreat and try to run and try to divert and I don't know what to say and I start stuttering. Think, take a moment, and just respond honestly. And you can take a look at the last live stream we just talked about speaking up in situations where you want to speak up and you're maybe nervous or afraid. That same suggestions and strategies apply here. How do you speak up in these situations? You can't be afraid of that failure, right? So you just got to go for it, and you can do it. I know you can do it. I'm living proof you can do it because I used to be a very timid, shy kid, right? And after practicing over and over, building that competence like we've talked about before, you end up with confidence because you've seen yourself be able to ask questions, respond, and create conversation on the spot that's more smooth and more smooth and more smooth as time goes on. So how do you be socially confident in social situations? You first focus on them, make the conversation about them, and then secondly, cringe through the first season. Don't be afraid to keep going. You can do it. I know you can do it. And I'm here rooting you on. Now, if you have any questions or any thoughts about social confidence, not being awkward in social situations, go ahead and put them in the chat right now. Let me take a quick drink of water here. Give me a second here. Did you like the coin, by the way? Did you like the coin? You're not going to believe it, but this is a fun fact. I actually used to work for a magic company that only sold magic tricks having to do with coins to magicians. So their whole purpose for being was creating magic tricks for magicians that were with only using coins. You know how I use a lot of cards. I specialize in card magic, and I do a lot of different types of magic and illusions, but this is just an entire company just based off coin magic. Isn't that wild? And so there's so many different, realms and things in the magic world. Excited to share even more and more with you as we go on. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm looking forward to talking with you next time. Today, the challenge for today. Usually I have a challenge or a question at the end of these live streams. My challenge for today is come up with a question that you can ask the next time you're randomly in public with somebody you don't know, right? It could be in a line you're picking up your food like somebody else, right? Or you're going to go up to the cash register, and pay for your groceries, and you say something to the cashier instead of just like letting them, boop scan everything in silence. Actually say something. Come up with a question that you already know the answer to in case they ask you the same question, and then be bold enough, be courageous enough to go ahead and ask them. Start that conversation. Make the focus on them, and then stick with it. Cringe through the first season, because that first season will pass soon enough, and you will be very confident. You'll look back and be like, wow, I'm so confident in conversations because I did it over and over and over and over. Thanks so much for being here, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye now.